Hello there, my lovelies, and welcome to Whispers to Wisdom Journey. Real talk for a soul-led life. I'm Elaine Somerville, spiritual medium, spiritual mentor, and passion-led, soul-led business coach. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been censored, sensationalized, and downright sold back to us for centuries. Sacred sensuality. If you've ever worried, that you're supposed to perform like a 5-star gymnast in a 4K film, this episode is your permission slip to ditch the porn star pressure and drop into soul-led pleasure. Grab a cuppa, light a candle, or pop me in your pocket for a mindful walk. Let's reclaim what's been yours all along. So, what is sacred sensuality? Let's define our terms. So, a swim in the same sea. Sensuality is simply the capacity to feel through the senses: taste, touch, scent, sound, sight, emotion, energy. And sacred means that we treat something with reverence, presence, and here's my woo-hoo-hoo meets science twist, coherence. When your mind, body, and energy line up, you create coherence. And that's the sweet spot where intuition sings and the nervous system healing begins. Sacred sensuality is the intentional practice of awakening sensation so you can anchor spirit inside the body. Yes, we're talking about you. You anchor the spirit inside the body instead of hovering above it. Think of it as embodied prayer. And why does it matter? Well, here's the thing. It regulates the vagus nerve. It lowers cortisol. It raises oxytocin. It activates the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, which creates clear intuition and decision making. It fuels creative flow, the same life force that births art, ideas, and yes, babies too. Sacred sensuality isn't fluff. It's a biochemical, neurological, and spiritual power move. And here's the thing. The porn star paradox. Performative versus embodied. And let's just address the elephant in the room. The elephant in 6-inch stilettos. If that's your thing. We've inherited a cultural script that says good sex equals cinematic acrobatics, perfect angle, no cellulite, ecstatic face on demand. Performative programming hijacks 3 things. Presence. We watch ourselves from the outside instead of feeling on the inside. Pleasure. We chase the peak, skip the build-up, ignore the afterglow. Permission. We outsource worth to an imaginary camera crew. And neuroscience backs this up. When you're self-monitoring, the default mode network lights up. You're pulling your blood flow away from the sensory cortex. And what does that mean? It means that you feel less. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much more you would feel if you didn't, if you weren't self-monitoring, if you weren't wondering, does cellulite show up? Do I have a roll around my stomach? Imagine how much more you would feel. And embodied intimacy, it is the antidote. It swaps. Do I look sexy? 2, where is the sensation alive? It takes spectacle and turns it into somatics. Takes a goal, turns it into guidance. So you know where you're feeling. Your new mantra could be, my pleasure doesn't need an audience. You can write it on the mirror, recite it sitting in traffic, tattoo it on your aura, stick it on your fridge. So picture this, 2 a.m, laptop glow. Now I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. And I'm going to share something with you. So the laptop was glowing. Single mom guilt, grief after losing my husband was still humming alive in my bones. I was Googling how to start a business, how to scale a business when I didn't know what I was doing. And I was on Google more times than when I was in my bed. And one night I finally did something totally radical, which normally wasn't me. Well, I can be quite radical, but not in this way. I closed the tabs down on the laptop. I placed one hand on my heart. My intuition just guided us to do this. And another on my stomach. And I just asked, what do you need? I was asking my spirit, what do you need? And the whisper that came, it was just absolutely instantaneous. I need to feel again. I was feeling a bit numb, through life. My emotions, my feelings had went numb. Because that's what happens. We just get on with things, don't we? And we forget. Forget about us. And I lit one candle. I had a song playing. I had some songs playing on YouTube. And I let my arms and my hands I let me palms in my hands, not my arms in my hands, my palms in my hands. I just let them glide down my arms. And it was almost as though I was meeting myself for the first time. I was getting back in touch with myself. Because we don't really take the time to get back in touch with ourselves, do we? We might sit and meditate and get back in touch with the inner self and the inner spirit, but we don't get back in touch with our presence, with our self, our skin, our being. And it was just like I was meeting myself for the first time. There was tears, there was goosebumps. Because even just that touch brought back so many memories. It brought so many emotions. I had tingles up and down my spine. I'll be honest, I wasn't looking to have a climax or nothing like that. I was just looking to reclaim myself. And that's exactly what I did. I reclaimed myself. And the result was, once I started to reclaim myself and I started to accept myself and I started, the sensual self, I gained clarity in my mind. All of a sudden, things started dropping. and creativity flooded back once the sensation returned. It really did. And that's when I actually realized that pleasure is productivity for the soul. It releases a lot of energy. It releases a lot of tension. It releases a lot of, once you reclaim yourself, it releases a lot of energy blocks, and it gives you clarity, and it brings back your creativity. So the thing is, pleasure's holy. Science and mysticism merge. You hear about Kundalini. Well, the Kundalini model, the serpent coils at the root, and the serpent energy uncoils at the root, ascends through the chakras. The root, safety. The sacral, desire. Solar plexus, power. The heart, love. The throat, truth. The third eye is vision. The crown is unity. Pleasure is the ignition key. And then think about this way. The polyvagal theory, or the polyvagal theory. When we engage a slow breath, soft touch, and sound, the ventral vagus pathway, it activates safety, openness, and spiritual states. And the hormonal alchemy, you've got the oxytocin, which is the bonding, the nitric oxide, the blood flow, the dopamine motivation, create a biochemical cocktail dubbed by researchers as the creativity trance. And, ancient priestesses, they weren't staging orgies for fun. They were hacking consciousness. You can do the same from your living room floor. And here's some myth busters, some truth bombs for you. The myth is, I must be healed first. The reality is, pleasure is part of the healing protocol. And the myth is, it's selfish. The reality is, dysregulated you helps no one. Radiant you uplifts all. You hear that saying, how can you help someone else if you're tired? You need to get your energy back. It's the same with your pleasure. That adds to your energy as well. The myth says sacred means silent and serious. And the reality actually is laughter, moans, yawns, burps, body's prayers. All normal. All normal. And the myth also says, I need expensive props. The reality is candle, breath, and a willing heart. That's your starter kit. Now, I want to invite you to close your eyes or bookmark this and try it later. And I call this the 7-gate ritual. So, number 1 is prepare the temple. Dim the lights, light a candle, a drop of rose oil on your wrists. That's optional. You don't have to put the rose oil on your wrists. And then grounding. Stand or sit. Feel the weight of your feet. Exhale with the sound ha. Awaken your breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 1, and exhale for 6. 3 cycles with a soft jaw. And then your sensory sweep. Feather-light fingertips from scalp to toe. Notice hot spots or numb spots. Greet each with a hello. And then ask and answer. Whisper. What do you desire right now? And listen to the movement, the stillness, the touch, sounding. Follow the first honest impulse. And then energy circulation. On inhale, visualize golden light rising from the pelvis up to the heart. On exhale, imagine roses blooming outward from the heart. And continue for 2 minutes. And then number 7, seal with gratitude. Hands in a prayer position at your heart, or hands over your heart. And speak in your mind or out loud. Pleasure is my prayer. My body is my oracle. So be it. And do that whenever you feel the need. Whenever you feel the need. Now, rituals are sexy. Habits are life-changing. So try 1 micro dose a day. Savor the first sip of tea. Have a sip and really, really enjoy it. Really allow your taste buds to come alive. Close your eyes and really experience the taste of your first cup of tea or your first cup of coffee. How does it make you feel? While you're brushing your teeth, do 3 hip circles. Move yourself. You're moving your energy. How does it make you feel? Feeling your hips swaying. How does it make you feel? It might make you weird at first, mind, but, the more you do it, the more comfortable that you'll get. And if you're going on your laptop, sit down. Give yourself a loving touch on your thigh as you open your laptop up and let it register in your brain what your thigh feels like as your hand touches it. What does your hand feel like? What does your thigh feel like? And when you go to bed or when you wake up, whisper, thank you. And when you go to bed, whisper, thank you to your womb or to your root before sleep. Tiny repeated acts are neural pathways that normalize pleasure. So practice them. If you practice them, put in the comments how it was. Get in touch with us on my website and let us know what your experience was. Your body is not a sidebar to your spirituality. It's a sacred script your soul chose to write through. Every goosebump, every exhale, every spark of desire is a line of a holy text, your holy text. So this week, let sensation be your oracle, and remember, you're not too much. You're finally full of yourself, and that is divine. Absolutely divine. Now, if this episode cracks something open, screenshot, tag at Elaine Somerville Medium. And if you go over to my website, elainesomerville.com, you will see a blog there that goes in a little bit more in depth. But there's also a sacred pleasure PDF there that's free to download. So if your body's buzzing, drop a comment. Let us know how you feel. Help more souls ditch the porn star pressure for soul-led pleasure. Until next time, stay soft, stay sovereign, stay sacred. See you later.